Club Shay Shay is getting messier and messier. It's almost like Wendy Williams didn't go anywhere. She just got a weight set.
Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm going to choke the shit out of you when I see.
Welcome to Zentora, where we break down the stories behind the headlines. And today, we've got a storm brewing around none other than Shannon Sharpe. It's looking like Shannon's empire might be on shaky ground, and DL Hughley just came in swinging. He's not holding back, and the accusations are getting ugly. Word on the street is, Shannon isn't just in a little hot water, he may be facing a full-blown scandal. According to DL, Shannon sold himself out to Hollywood's gatekeepers, those behind the scene's power brokers, and now the bill has come due. And DL's not the only one talking. There's chatter picking up all over the place, and it's getting louder. Some are saying Shannon could be next on the chopping block, Hollywood style. Allegedly, he made some kind of secret deal to keep those industry doors open. But as anyone who's been around knows, in Hollywood, nothing comes for free. Now those same power players are calling in their favors, and Shannon apparently didn't deliver. And the consequences? They're starting to surface. And that's just the beginning. Behind the scenes, sources claim a group of women may be preparing legal action against him. The allegations? They're shocking, if even half of it is true. Which leads to the bigger question: what exactly does DL Hughley know? And is Shannon being pressured to keep quiet? Let's unpack it. DL has been warning Shannon for a while, telling him to stop cozying up to the wrong crowd and chasing after industry approval. But Shannon didn't listen. Now that his name is wrapped up in controversy, DL isn't wasting any time taking him to task. The moment Shannon's legal troubles started trending, DL jumped on Twitter with a jabby. Shannon better be glad he's not the one being interviewed on Club that hit hard. Fans are split. Some say DL's kicking a man while he's down. Others think he's just telling it like it is. But one thing's clear: DL has been skeptical of Shannon's brand for a long time. He's even gone so far as to call Club Shay Shay a trap, where black men are put on display, dissected for views, and used to stir up controversy. DL didn't mince words, once referring to Shannon as Wendy Williams with a weight set. That one cut deep, especially since Shannon's known for pushing hot-button topics to grab attention. DL has no love for Shannon's platform, and he's made that known. He says Club Shay Shay has strayed far from real conversation. It's now all about viral moments, sensationalism, and stirring the pot. Last year, DL made it crystal clear he'd never sit down with Shannon. Why? He said the show's too messy, too chaotic, and frankly, too dangerous. He didn't want any part of a platform that encourages guests to air dirty laundry and rehash old grudges for the camera. Of course, everyone knew he was talking about that explosive Club Shay Shay interview with Katt Williams. That episode blew up. Nearly 90 million views and counting. One of the biggest podcast interviews in YouTube history. And Katt came out swinging, calling out just about every major name in comedy. From Steve Harvey to Cedric the Entertainer to Kevin Hart. He didn't hold back. But here's the twist: Katt didn't insult DL in that interview. Still, DL called out both Katt and Shannon for putting that kind of chaos out in the open. And during that same interview, Katt gave Shannon a very public warning. He told him flat out, "You've got a strange loyalty to losers." It got laughs at the time. But Katt wasn't joking. He was calling out Shannon's associations, hinting at some questionable connections happening behind the scenes. Most people missed it, but Katt kept dropping breadcrumbs, talking about how dangerous it is to sell your soul to the devil. And when he said devil, he wasn't being metaphorical. He meant the real power players, the ones who pull the strings behind the curtain. When Katt warned Shannon about dancing for the devil, he wasn't just trying to be dramatic. He was shining a light on the puppet masters, those gatekeepers who decide who gets fame and who fades into the background. Katt even called out Kevin Hart, suggesting that Kevin's major deals were lined up before he ever hit the spotlight, implying something deeper, something orchestrated. And now, all these pieces are coming together. We'll be watching closely to see what surfaces next. Because if what's being whispered is true, Shannon Sharpe may be facing more than just media backlash. He could be staring down the collapse of everything he's built. Stay tuned. This isn't over.
And I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so.
Let me tell you something. The deals were made long before the spotlight ever hit. This wasn't overnight success, folks. According to Katt Williams, there were quiet handshakes and backroom arrangements way before the fame rolled in. And he didn't hold back. Katt's message was loud and clear. When you sell your soul in this business, you're not your own anymore. You don't call the shots. You smile when they say smile. You stay silent when it really counts. And from that point on, you're on a leash. Forever. But what really had folks raising their eyebrows was how much Katt seemed to know about Shannon. We're not just talking industry gossip. He hinted at some pretty personal stuff. From unusual habits to relationship choices, Katt painted a picture of a man heading down a dangerous road. And he didn't just throw shade. He warned Shannon directly about the kind of women he was surrounding himself with, saying straight up, that energy was all wrong. Looking back, it almost feels like Katt saw this coming. Because now, Shannon's neck deep in legal fire. And just maybe, if he'd taken that warning seriously, he wouldn't be staring down the barrel of a lawsuit like this. Here's the real story. Shannon Sharpe is currently facing a massive $50 million lawsuit. The woman behind it, Gabriela Zuniga. You might know her as Gabby. And folks, the accusations are disturbing. She claims Shannon was manipulative, controlling, even violent during their relationship. This isn't just tabloid noise. This could end careers.
I was going to do it, and it kept my schedule. It just didn't work out, but I'm glad I didn't. I thought it got to be too messy, and I said it out loud. I think for a while, Club Shay Shay was like Wendy Williams with a weight set. Like, this dude. I mean, it was messy. The reason that those people went on Club Shay Shay in its first iteration before it became successful, it's because we saw what he did, and the reason I was going to go on is because we saw what Skip did to him.
And here's where it takes an even darker turn. After that IG Live blew up and went viral, Gabby says she tried to walk away, tried to cut ties and move on. But according to her, Shannon didn't take that well. She claims that's when things turned violent. And in the lawsuit, she says it didn't stop there. In January, Gabby alleges Shannon managed to talk his way back into her home, and once inside, forced himself on her.
When he said, put your glass back on or
That
something
was
like that?
so horrible to me that I think a lot of people were determined to help this black man be successful because of what had happened to him. And to kind of curate all that bull and have that place that they worked so hard for you to have so you would have your own space be just an amalgamation and curate all the bull that is happening in our community seemed insulting to me.
Right. And we're talking about, man, some of the same people that rallied around him to make sure
All
he was
of them.
good.
But it gets even more serious. Gabby claims Shannon ignored her when she said no, and that he refused to use protection, crossing major boundaries that she made clear from the start. And here's where it really gets troubling. Gabby says she was only 19 when their relationship began. Shannon, a much older, well-established figure in the industry. So now people are asking, did his status and industry connections shield him all this time? Or are those same circles starting to turn their backs on him? Right now, Shannon Sharpe's name is being dragged through some of the most disturbing headlines out there. And the situation just keeps spiraling. On top of everything, there's another layer, and it's messy. Shannon and Gabby were reportedly involved in some highly controversial dynamics, including race play and BDSM. And all of this exploded after Shannon's own legal team leaked private text messages between the two. As now, these weren't just suggestive texts. They were graphic. One had Gabby saying, I want you to put a dog collar on me and choke me while you're with me. Another one read, I know you missed this big juicy behind. Or 25,000 for each cheek. Only if you put that baby gravy in me. Then I can do whatever I want to me. And perhaps the most jarring line of all, that's my daddy. I want you to put a big black baby in me. You better crave it, 'cause you're gonna be stuck with it for life. It was raw, explicit, and beyond uncomfortable. But the leak wasn't accidental. It was clearly a legal strategy. Shannon's team is using it to argue that the relationship was not only consensual, but mutual and passionate. After the text came out, his attorney didn't hold back. He called the lawsuit a blatant and cynical money grab, accusing Gabby of spinning false narratives and flat-out lies. The official statement even went so far as to say the whole case was a setup, orchestrated by Gabby and her lawyer, Tony Busby, with the sole goal of cashing in on Shannon's fame. They denied all claims of coercion and assault, calling them outrageous lies and a desperate act of blackmail. And they made one thing very clear: they're not settling. Shannon's camp says they're ready to fight this in court, all the way.
This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down.
I can't sit here and speak to his innocence or guilt from a knowledgeable place because I have nothing to do with this. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. I don't even know this person. I know what the reports say.
Shannon says that the video making the rounds has been heavily edited, chopped up in a way that completely twists the story. And he's calling their bluff, challenging them to release the full 10-minute clip. According to him, the uncut footage would show the real context. So here's the question: if that's true, why haven't they dropped it? What are they trying to hide? Now here's where things get unsettling. For years, there have been whispers in the industry, rumors that certain powerful insiders, what some folks call gatekeepers, keep vaults of blackmail material, explicit videos, sketchy recordings, compromising receipts, all tucked away as leverage over the very stars they helped rise to the top. And one name that always seems to float to the surface in those rumors: Diddy. Allegedly, he's held onto tapes from wild Hollywood parties, stuff that could end careers in a heartbeat. And he's not the only one. Word is, other high-profile players have done the same thing, collecting dirt as insurance. So now people are starting to ask, is Shannon being hit with the same playbook? Did he step out of line? And now the machine is turning against him. And let's not forget, comedian Katt once warned Shannon, and fans remember. Shannon used to brag about being untouchable, said he had powerful friends, deep connections. But now, it's starting to look like those connections either went silent or turned on him. And here's the thing: some insiders believe this isn't even about justice. They think these lawsuits are just the surface, a warning shot, a message. So now the real question is, one thing's clear. Whatever Shannon's caught up in, it's far from over. And then there's this strange twist. Gabby almost took that $10 million settlement. The deal was practically done. Then, out of nowhere, she backs out. Why? I mean, let's be real, asking for $50 million. That's a bold move, especially considering the kind of receipts the public has seen so far. So what's really going on behind closed doors? Well, here's what's circulating. Some in the industry think there's a third party pulling strings. someone pushing Gabby to blow this case wide open. Even Mace and Cameron chimed in on their podcast. And Mace dropped a bombshell. He said Shannon wouldn't have offered that much money unless there was some guilt on his part. But then he speculated, what if someone like a pimp told Gabby to reject the settlement and take it all the way to court? Now sure, maybe Mace was just talking slick, but it definitely raised eyebrows. And get this, ESPN moved fast. As soon as the lawsuit started making waves, they reportedly told Shannon to step aside, and insiders say they're already working on finding his replacement. Even Stephen A. Smith, who usually has something to say about everything, has gone radio silent. This is the same Stephen A. who stood up for Jay-Z when he got caught up in Diddy's mess. But now, he's distancing himself from Shannon like the guy's radioactive. So here's the bottom line. Either the evidence against Shannon is so bad that even his closest allies are backing away, or there are serious power players behind the scenes making sure Shannon gets wiped off the map. Either way, the tides have turned, and not in Shannon's favor. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Shannon Sharpe is being set up by forces bigger than we realize? Or is this just karma catching up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're still with me, check out the next video, because this rabbit hole, it goes way deeper.